issues ranging from coal and the use of coal technology. Probably most of you know that China is now the world's largest user of coal. And much of the coal they use is soft coal that contains a lot of pollutants in it, which makes and a lot of particulate matter, which makes the whole air pollution situation in China much worse. So we've been working with them on trying to improve, for the length of time that they still have to use coal, improve the technology they're using. There's a wonderful part of the Natural Capital Project. So the Natural Capital Project is a project that Gretchen Daly started. And the core of the Natural Capital Project is to analyze and get an appreciation for the value of the ecological services that this earth and this environment provide to us. So those ecological services can be things from clean water, renewable soils that can support crops and be used for that, forests, which obviously we use to provide building materials. So the focus in China is one that I find really fascinating. They're working with people in rural areas at the headwaters of the Yangtze River to try to get a method whereby they can protect the watersheds of the Yangtze River so that the quality water that is so relied upon by people who are downstream is maintained. And in these rural areas, the problem you often have is that people are quite poor. So they want to make money whatever way they can. They cut down the forest, they destroy parts of the forest around the headwaters, with the result being that the quality of the water source goes down dramatically. So how does this work? Well, you begin to evaluate what is that land worth as protection for the watershed and the water quality in the Yangtze River. And you develop a system by working with the local communities to enable these poorer communities to get money coming from the communities downstream that are benefiting by the maintenance of that watershed. So it's a completely different way of thinking about this. We're doing a similar project, by the way, in parts of South America with watersheds that come out of the mountains there. But it's a completely different way of thinking about how you approach this, and really wonderful work that Gretchen Daly is doing jointly with the World Wildlife Fund and Nature Conservancy. The Graduate School of Business has been one of our major leaders in trying to get more global experience and global management, and maybe Hao-Li will say something about the work they're doing. But we do lots of trips every year to China. We have groups going back and forth between Tsinghua and Stanford, working on joint projects, really to get our students to have a global mindset. So one of the most fascinating projects going on is in the Department of Communication, and it's a project called Deliberative Democracy. So this is the project which asks the following question. Is there a way to figure out what Chinese people would like to do in their own communities without having an election? So election, bad. Not good. Still, we may get there at some point in the future, but right now they're not ready. Everybody knows the story of Supergirl and the Supergirl contest that went on. People say, if I can vote for Supergirl, I can vote for the mayor. And they say, no, wait. We changed our mind. So the deliberative democracy is about working with communities to allow them to express their opinion through surveys and other means without having something that looks like an election. And their initial project is working with a small community in a rural part of China to look at alternatives for community improvements. So the local town and city have a certain amount of money they can invest. What would the people like to see happen? There's a future project which I think will be a really interesting project that begins to grapple with some of the development dilemmas in China and figuring out where the balance of public opinion is between development and environmental concerns. And I think, as you probably all know, environmental concerns have been rising rapidly in the minds of people in China. Getting that balance right, how can you assess the balance when you don't have yet an open press and you don't have elections per se? So this is a way to get at that information without quite creating a vote, which isn't something that they're quite ready for. But they will get there. Let me just touch on two projects that really involve both some of our faculty, but most importantly, they involve our students. And one is the wonderful opportunity that Jingdong and our students had going to China for the 2008 Olympics. I hope you all had an opportunity to see some of the video or photographs or music from their wonderful concert, which they did over the July 4th weekend in the Great Hall of the People and in the new Performing Arts Center in Beijing over the 4th of July weekend. What a perfect time to be doing a group there, and touring China with a group of our students, I think, and doing a cooperative event with students from the U.S. and students from China performing together. A really unique opportunity, and one I think our students. I've talked to some of the students that went on the trip. They were over the moon. It was the most wonderful thing. The last thing I want to close with is a really wonderful student group. You know, lots of our students get excited about some particular area of the university, and they build a group, and they're really excited about it. And that group usually lasts 4 years. Right? It lasts the lifetime of one, or maybe one and the follow-on student leadership. But we have the most successful student organization ever built at Stanford is FACES, the Forum for American-Chinese Exchange. And it is a group of students. This group of students put together this and said, look, we want to bring together a group of students from China and the US every year to talk about important topics that affect both countries. So that's a big undertaking. Well, this was a very determined group of students. While the focus is here at Stanford, they choose students from around the United States. And similarly, the Chinese group of students, the leadership is at Beida and Tsinghua, chooses students from around China. The selection process is extremely difficult to get through. There are many more applicants than there are spaces. Not only do they choose these students, select speakers, and put together a program, but they also raise all the money to allow the students to participate in it. It's a truly remarkable group. They're now in their 4th or 5th generation of leadership. Amazing people have participated in it. Many of them are going on to important careers, both here and in China. But I think it's a good insight. Our students are often the best at perceiving where things are going and what's becoming important. And I think in this case, the relationship between the US and China and building and strengthening that relationship, this is a good indication of the importance of that. So thank you for inviting me tonight. Congratulations on this wonderful new club. And dinner is very good.